years have been fraught with challenges for the Caribbean Maritime University. The COVID-19 pandemic has just been one of them. But like all educational institutions on the island, it's back to face-to-face mode and looking forward to the future.
If you visit the school's website, you will see that its mandate is to redefine maritime excellence through innovation and technology. But how is it doing that? The university has been working to redefine its reputation in the last few years, and one of those ways was to appoint a new president, Professor Andrew Spencer.
Feels like about 5 months because of how much we've been able to do and just all the activity surrounding my entry into the space.
Professor Spencer is seeking to bring new life to the Caribbean Maritime University and deepen its international links. We began with the basics. What does CMU offer?
It focuses on maritime and related industries, and so that's a whole plethora of things. So anything that plugs into the maritime space is CMU. But here's why CMU is the most important. We control the development of human capital for all our points of entry. That by itself is phenomenal. So we're controlling ports, seaports, airports. We're training individuals to handle those areas, and that deals with all of your trade into the region, that deals with the movement of tourists through your ports, that deals with all of the areas so we call this end-to-end logistics, and we talk about ensuring that everything on the spectrum is fully handled by the CMU. So we have engineering programs, mechatronics, marine engineering, industrial automation, Industry 4.0 machines that we use. We have the skill side of it with the welding facilities as well as our simulators in trucking, the forklift simulator. We handle the seafarer side of it, which is the core of what we do. Our cadets are trained in the bridge, which is our simulator for operating ships. We have other areas in the logistics area now. So we have port management, we have shipping and logistics, we have tourism, and then of course the borders and the ports are the areas where you have to control the movement of arms and drugs. And so we have a security component that's also very important. So we have a very long-named department, but it handles areas to do with cyber forensics and cyber security. It's called the Center for Security, Counterterrorism and Non-Proliferation.
Like any university, one would have to have certain qualifications to attend the CMU to get a degree or master's. However, the university had partnered with the Heart NSTA Trust to develop skills competency in areas that include cyber physical systems. A program like that would increase the opportunity for youth at risk to attend a tertiary institution.
Well, we don't have a formal arrangement with Heart Trust right now, but that's certainly something we're willing to look at. The CMU has, however, in the past been involved in programs related to unattached youth. And that's something we're looking to revive because we know that we need to serve everyone. And the truth is that not everyone will have our requirement of the 5 CSEC, including math and so on. So we're looking out for everyone. And that is why we don't only have our degreed programs. We have short programs that can appeal to multiple individuals.
Professor Spencer explains that his vision for the school is to maximize its resources and facilitate even more skills for students and faculty.
I think that there's a CMU secret sauce. And this is what makes our graduates get jobs so quickly. This is what makes people speak about the refinement of the people who leave the institution, is that we have so many things that are happening, pockets of excellence. And my real vision is to make all of that congeal and become synchronized in such a way that we get maximum impact. So, I'll give you an example. We have, as I told you before, mechatronics, which is the combination of mechanical and electrical engineering in our state-of-the-art Festo Center, the only one in the region. We have that in one space. We also have our trucking simulator for our short course. We have our 3D printing facility. There is a clear narrative that would connect all of this. That's the one thing we now need to do. So for example, someone who's studying the mechanical engineering or electrical engineering, through mechatronics, must be able to have access, for example, to the very trucks and the kinds of machinery that would then involve some level of engineering services. Those involved in that kind of activity must have some access to, those who are not doing port management may need to come and understand through that synergy what's happening in terms of how you coordinate the activities for greater efficiency on ports. So that's really what we want to do. And if we can pull that together properly, people are going to recognize that CMU is the most important university in the Caribbean.
How do you plan to go about that?
Well, the first thing is we're looking at our resources internally. So we have a lot of talented people in the CMU, many who would have been in the business of building the institution over decades, even before its university status. What we're doing is focusing on building those people first. So we're helping our people to realize their potential through upskilling and wherever they think the gaps are.
Mr. Spencer acknowledges that the institution is recovering from a fall-off in enrollment due to COVID-19, as well as challenges with staff morale. But he believes there will be improvements and glory days ahead for the school. Professor Spencer asserts that things have changed and the university is trying to capitalize on its reputation internationally. He says his team has been in talks with Dalhousie University in an effort to forge a partnership.
A major player in the maritime university space. And in engaging with them, we're looking at student exchanges, staff exchanges, we're looking at staff development, we're looking at joint consultancy, we're looking at joint research, and we're looking at a number of areas that would help to build out our space. Our intention is to become top 10 maritime university globally, and the way you do that is to drive all of these areas. So I did say we're building staff, we're building partnerships, we're building a research culture. Not necessarily the traditional research culture that is intended to create, esoteric things that go on a shelf, or, papers that repeat what others are saying and amount to being just purely tautological. We are going to be that applied research university that's going to focus on the things that are cutting edge. We're going to use the facilities available to us to provide solutions for industry. And so that's how we're going to do it. And we have to tell that story.
Professor Spencer says the Memorandum of Understandings being forged could enable the school to embark on joint programs, research and consultancy.
When you speak about engaging students from the region and abroad, Guyana has just struck gold in oil. Have you been speaking with that country?
As a matter of fact, Guyana reached out to us. Guyana has indicated that they want an MOU between the government of Guyana and the CMU, and we're going to try to make that happen before the end of this calendar year. Because the truth is, by next year we want to see a steady flow of students, not just from Guyana, but from Suriname. Suriname has reached out. We want to see a steady flow of students from Antigua. We've been getting those, but we want to get more from Belize, and we want to get more from... And so that's kind of our focus. So we're going to be hitting the road to ensure that everybody understands why they should be a part of the CMU family.
The former executive director of the Tourism Product Development Company is confident about the position that the CMU holds in the economic development of Jamaica.
You're quoted as saying CMU is a gateway to global trade. Explain that quote.
If you think about how we are able to trade goods and services into the region, over 90% of that comes by sea. If you are the only university in the Caribbean focused solely on that sphere, then naturally you are controlling, you're driving education that is influencing, if not controlling, the flow of money into economies in the region. And that's the reality. We are island states, and that's why the CMU is so important. In another large mass of land environment, then another kind of university may be most important. But where you have so many island states of the region, where almost everything that happens comes via sea, then we must be at the epicenter of all of that.
Speaking of the CMU's global link, the university recently held the 2022 CMU Academic Industry Conference in September. The two-day conference was held under the theme End-to-End Logistics, Opportunities in an Era of Uncertainty. Professor Spencer shared a part of his takeaway from the discussions.
It was an amazing conference. I'm accustomed to going to academic conferences. This was an industry conference, and what I enjoyed about it was a perfect marriage. It was like a feast of real senior executives in industry bringing to the table what they thought were the germane issues. And then you had academics in other panels addressing some of those same issues with some solutions which may have been adopted. So coming out of that, what I think we have are a set of not just talking points, but some action. There were a number of partnerships too, and initial discussions which emerged. And we've been following up on a lot of those. For example, some of the port authorities around the region are trying to engage with the CMU now for the kind of applied research we talked about, so that we can move their businesses forward. We got our students engaged, because students were in attendance. We got our faculty into the habit of presenting their research, and we brought industry to the table to see all the amazing things we're doing, but also so that we could borrow from their experiences in crafting the way forward for what we train people to do.
The link between national infrastructure and the maritime industry came up for discussion at the conference.
Our road networks, indeed, is a lifeline of our economy. Of course, without good roads, our economy will always stifle. We want to make sure that at all times we utilize the best practice approach in making sure that when we are constructing our roads, when we are maintaining, when we are repairing our roads, that these practices are cheap and they are also environmentally friendly. My time is running, so in terms of recommendation, we have a few recommendations here. We're going to look at the first and the last. It says more sustainable road construction and restoration techniques must be used in the Caribbean to develop more durable roads that will ultimately improve the economic factors. And the last one, a more technological complex option, is a centralized traffic light control system that opens up the possibility of using different modes of control to meet given areas' different requirements.
Governments who are serious about real economic growth and development will carve out a significant enough portion of its budget towards that space. And that has to do with the infrastructure, but it also has to do with the training of its people. There are some countries that have 5% of their national budget dedicated to maritime universities. I'm not saying that we can afford to do that. What I'm saying is that if you understand the role of ports and the infrastructure required to make things happen and for efficiency to be there and for the movement to be free and seamless, then you will invest, and that's what it is. And there's a massive return on investment to be gained from pumping resources into infrastructure development surrounding ports, but also into training the people. I mean, Caribbean countries should be looking at how many scholarships they're giving to students coming out of high school who want to study anything maritime.
Speaking of investment, the use and proper management of funds will eventually come up. Professor Spencer had this to say.
The CMU has positioned itself over the last 2 years or so based on transparency, accountability, proper procedure. We are guided by a council that's very in tune to the notion of best practice in the handling of public funds, and that's very important. I'm new as president. Some of the senior leaders are new as well, and that's our focus. What we'd like to ensure and what we'd like to assure the Jamaican people of is that everything that the CMU does now, we'll do it expansively, we'll do it explosively, but we're going to do it the right way. At the end of the day, there will be no skeletons in any closets.